remove the engine cover, and then disconnect the battery. After you disconnect the battery, we're going to remove the ignition coils. You'll need a 10mm socket, an extension, and a ratchet, and then you're going to need a flathead to help you remove these safety pins. It does say to use an air compressor to blow out the debris so it doesn't drop into the cylinder. However, if you don't have that, you can just simply wipe it out with a rag or get you some dust off from any CVS store and just blow it out. Disconnect the plugs from the ignition coils. I used a flathead to push up on the safety pins and then to wiggle it off. I went ahead and removed all 4 of mine because it does take 2 hands. They're a little bit of a struggle to get off. Grab your ratchet, 10mm socket, and an extension if you want one. It's not really that necessary to have it right now. We're going to loosen the bolts on the ignition coils. Remove your ignition coil. There's no need to fully remove the bolt. It's captive, meaning it'll stay in place. This is a 5/8 spark plug socket. The difference between that and a deep socket is it has that little rubber piece on the inside to help us remove and install the spark plug easier. Now that we've removed the old spark plug, it's time to get the new one installed. So there's a few things we have to do before we actually install the spark plugs. First is to check the gap. The gap is very important. Grab you one of these gap gauges from AutoZone for like $2. While you're there, also grab a packet of anti-seize to coat the threads. Here's where we check the gap on our spark plug. You must do this for every one you install. It is one of the most important steps that you'll do. I have a 2.0 Dodge Dart. So my gap is supposed to be 0.43. You need to look at your car manual for specifications for your own gap. If you don't know where to find your car manual, just look on the top of your cover. To measure the gap on the spark plug, you simply insert the gauge and rotate it until you hit 0.43. So mine turned out to be 0.43 right out of the box, which is good. However, if you needed to make an adjustment to the gap according to your own specifications, all you gotta do is take the hole on the other side of the disc and insert your spark plug into there and adjust it kind of like a lever. Just go up or down depending on if you need more or less. Don't go too far. You don't want too big of a gap than you need. Next, you're going to take some anti-seize and you're going to coat the threads of the spark plug. You don't need to gunk on a bunch of this stuff. Just light coat all the way around the threads. Alright, so we have our gap measures good. We have anti-seize on the threads. And then this is where this spark plug socket comes in handy. It doesn't drop the spark plug out of the socket. You also want to go ahead and grab your long extension. So before I install the spark plug, I want to go ahead and check the bore, make sure there's nothing obstructing it. So one of the most important things when installing a spark plug, you don't want to over torque it or you're going to ruin it. So just turn it by hand. Don't use a ratchet. Once it gets tight, we'll put on our torque wrench and get it torqued to the right value. You'll need a foot-pound torque wrench. For a 2.0 Dodge Dart, the foot-pounds are 20. So you want to set your torque wrench to 20 foot-pounds. If you have a different model of the Dodge Dart, you need to check your manual to see what your torque should be at. Since this is a ratchet type torque wrench, we're just going to slowly ratchet it down until we hear the click, and then you need to stop. This is the click you're listening for. Once you hear that, it is torqued and you need to stop. That's how you install a spark plug. Don't forget that whenever you put this plug back onto your ignition coil, push that red safety pin in, and you should see it at the bottom. That's how you know it's in. This is the car manual. Go to the back where it says maintaining your vehicle. If you look under spark plugs for a 1.4, a 2.0, and a 2.4, here's your gap measurements. Alright, so last thing, you're going to want to reset your ECM because you just installed a new spark plug and it's got to catch the timing. So go to the back of the book where you can find the fuse and just reset it.